First contact at Port Sierra. The massive repair rings of Port Sierra gleamed in the light of Earth's sun, their titanium alloy structures stretching over 20 kilometers into space. Chief Engineer Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck, watching as the first non-human vessel approached the facility. After decades of interstellar travel, humanity had finally established itself as a spacefaring civilization. But this moment would determine their place among the stars. The alien ship was unlike anything Sarah had seen before. Its hull seemed to ripple like liquid metal, and its propulsion system defied conventional physics. The vessel's captain, Ambassador Zixtal of the Meridian Confederation, had taken a considerable risk coming here. Their ship had suffered severe damage passing through an unexpected quantum storm, and Port Sierra was the only repair facility within 50 light-years. "Ma'am, the Meridian vessel is requesting emergency docking procedures," announced Torres, her assistant AI. "Their primary containment field is failing." Sarah straightened her Port Authority uniform. "Guide them to Bay 7. Alert Dr. Watson and get the quantum stabilization team ready." She headed toward the emergency response center, her mind already racing through possible repair scenarios. The docking procedure was tense. The alien ship's unusual design meant standard magnetic clamps wouldn't work. Sarah had to improvise, using modified gravitational tethers to secure the vessel. As the airlock cycled, she prepared to meet their first customers. Ambassador Zixtal emerged with 2 other crew members. They were tall, elegant beings with iridescent skin and multiple pairs of arms. Their environmental suits were clearly sophisticated, but Sarah noticed they were patched in several places, signs of a desperate journey. "Welcome to Port Sierra," Sarah said, activating the universal translator. "I'm Chief Engineer Chen. We received your distress signal and we're ready to help." Zixtal's translator crackled. "Your assistance is unexpected. Our databases indicated humans were a relatively young spacefaring species. This facility appears quite advanced." Sarah smiled. "We may be new to the stars, Ambassador, but we've been fixing things since we first picked up stones as tools. Let's take a look at your ship." The damage was worse than initial scans suggested. The quantum storm had fractured the ship's exotic matter core, causing cascade failures throughout its systems. Most repair facilities would have declared it a total loss, but humans had always excelled at making the impossible possible. "The core design is fascinating," Sarah said, studying the holographic diagnostics. "It's similar to theoretical works by Dr. Ramirez at MIT. We might be able to adapt some of our experimental quantum stabilization techniques." Zixtal's upper arms twitched in surprise. "You understand this technology. Even among our people, few comprehend the principles of quantum core engineering." "We may not have invented it," Sarah replied, "but we're pretty good at figuring out how things work. More importantly, we're really good at fixing them when they break." Over the next 3 days, Sarah and her team worked around the clock. They combined Meridian engineering principles with human ingenuity, developing new repair techniques on the fly. The alien crew watched in amazement as the humans fearlessly tackled technology they'd never seen before, using everything from advanced quantum tools to what looked suspiciously like duct tape in certain places. When the core finally stabilized, its efficiency had actually improved by 15% compared to its original specifications. Zixtal's expression was unreadable, but their voice carried clear amazement. "This is unprecedented," they said. "You didn't just repair our ship, you improved it. Our own shipyards wouldn't have attempted such innovations." Sarah shrugged. "Humans have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. We've spent our entire history adapting, improving, and occasionally breaking things just to see if we could fix them better. It's kind of our thing." As the Meridian ship prepared to depart, Zixtal made an unexpected request. "Chief Engineer, with your permission, I would like to send word to our allies about Port Sierra. There are many ships in this sector that could benefit from your unique approach to repairs." "We'd be happy to help," Sarah replied. That's another thing about humans. We like fixing problems, no matter whose problems they are. The Meridian vessel departed with a fully functional quantum core and a story that would spread quickly through the nearby sectors. Within months, Port Sierra's repair bays were filled with ships from a dozen different species, each bringing new challenges and opportunities for human ingenuity to shine. Sarah stood at her favorite observation spot, watching the latest arrival. A massive high ship of the collective, its biomechanical systems presenting yet another fascinating puzzle to solve. She smiled, knowing that humanity had found its place among the stars not through military might or advanced technology, but through their endless determination to fix whatever was broken and make it work even better than before. Torres's voice interrupted her thoughts. "Chief, the collective ship's representative is requesting to speak with you. They're having trouble believing we can repair their organic technology." Sarah straightened her uniform again. "Tell them we're on our way. And Torres, get the experimental bioengineering team ready. This is going to be interesting." Human ingenuity was about to face another challenge, and Sarah couldn't wait to get started. The impossible repair. Port Sierra's reputation had spread faster than anyone expected. 6 months after the Meridian incident, the repair facility had become a bustling hub of interstellar commerce. But today's arrival would test the limits of human innovation. The vessel that dropped out of hyperspace looked less like a ship and more like a wound in space itself. Its hull was completely transparent, revealing crystalline structures that pulsed with internal energy. Most of its port side was simply missing, as if someone had taken an enormous bite out of reality itself. "What am I looking at, Torres?" Sarah Chen asked, squinting at the holographic display. "The vessel is registered as the Dream of Dawn, belonging to the crystalline consciousness," Torres replied. "They're an ancient species that evolved in the void between galaxies. Their technology operates on principles we barely understand." The ship's distress signal was unlike anything in their database, less a conventional transmission and more a resonance in the quantum fabric of space itself. As it approached the station, sensors started registering impossible readings. "Chief Chen." Torres's voice carried an unusual note of concern. "Their hull appears to be phase-shifting between multiple dimensional states. Standard docking procedures won't work." Sarah watched as the crystalline ship drew closer, its transparent structure refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. "Get me Dr. Peddle from theoretical physics. We're going to need to think outside the box on this one." The ship's pilot emerged from a point in space that looked like a soap bubble being born. The being was vaguely humanoid in shape, but composed entirely of living crystal. Light passed through its form, creating rainbow cascades that spoke of deeper dimensions. "We are grateful for your willingness to assist," the being communicated directly into their minds. "I am Resonance of Distant Thoughts, navigator of the Dream of Dawn. Our ship's dimensional anchor was severely damaged during our research expedition." Sarah felt a headache forming as her brain tried to process the alien's method of communication. "Can you explain what happened?" The crystalline being's form shifted, creating a 3-dimensional representation of the incident. "We were studying a temporal anomaly when our ship's dimensional stabilizers failed. The resulting cascade caused parts of our vessel to exist in multiple realities simultaneously." Dr. Patel, who had arrived moments earlier, was already taking readings with specialized quantum sensors. "Fascinating. The ship exists in a state of quantum superposition across at least 7 different dimensional planes. Attempting to repair it in any single dimension could cause a catastrophic collapse of its wave function." Sarah rubbed her temples. "So we need to repair a ship that exists in multiple dimensions at once, using technology we barely understand, without causing it to collapse into a quantum singularity." "That is correct," Resonance confirmed. "Most species would consider this impossible." Sarah smiled. "Well, it's a good thing we're human then. We have a long history of doing impossible things." She turned to her team. "Dr. Patel, I want you working with Torres to model the ship's dimensional frequencies. We'll need to synchronize our repair efforts across all affected realities." The next week was a blur of theoretical physics, experimental engineering, and more than a few moments of near disaster. They had to develop entirely new tools that could operate across multiple dimensional states. The human repair teams learned to perceive reality in new ways, their minds expanding to comprehend concepts that should have been beyond their understanding. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source, an ancient human game. "It's like playing chess in 3 dimensions," Sarah explained to her team. "Each repair we make needs to work not just in our reality, but in all the others as well. We need to think several moves ahead and consider how each action affects the whole." They developed a new repair methodology, using quantum entangled tools that existed simultaneously across all affected dimensions. The human technicians worked in perfect synchronization, their actions choreographed like a complex dance across the boundaries of reality itself. On the 7th day, the Dream of Dawn's dimensional anchor finally stabilized. The ship's transparent hull solidified into a single reality, its crystalline structure humming with renewed energy. Resonance of distant thoughts communicated a sensation of profound amazement. "In all our travels across the cosmos, we have never encountered a species quite like yours. You faced concepts beyond your current scientific understanding, yet you adapted and overcame." "How?" Sarah looked at her team, proud of what they had accomplished. "Humans have always been good at puzzles, even ones we don't fully understand. We see something broken, and we don't stop until we figure out how to fix it. Sometimes that means inventing entirely new ways of thinking." As the crystalline ship prepared to depart, Resonance shared one final thought. "Your species is young, but your potential is vast. We will share word of your achievements with others who may need your unique abilities." Sarah watched the Dream of Dawn slip away into higher dimensions, its repaired hull shimmering with possibilities. She knew that each impossible repair brought humanity one step closer to understanding the true mysteries of the universe. "Torres," she called out, "what's next on our schedule?" "A high ship of the collective has just arrived," the AI responded. "They're requesting emergency repairs to their organic propulsion system." Sarah grinned. After repairing a multi-dimensional crystalline ship, a little biological engineering sounded almost routine. Almost. Crisis at the station. Port Sierra never slept. The massive repair facility operated continuously, its bays filled with vessels from across the galaxy. After the successful repair of the crystalline consciousness ship, the station had gained an almost mythical status among spacefaring species. But fame, as humanity had long known, often attracted unwanted attention. Sarah Chen was reviewing maintenance logs when Torres's alert cut through her concentration. "Chief, we're detecting multiple quantum signatures approaching at FTL speeds. Configuration unknown." Before Sarah could respond, the station's sensors registered 3 massive ships dropping out of hyperspace. Their design was unlike anything in Port Sierra's database. Angular, aggressive, with hulls that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "This is Enforcer Prime Kral of the Regulators," a harsh voice broadcast across all frequencies. "Your facility has been deemed a threat to galactic stability. Surrender control immediately." Sarah's mind raced. The Regulators were infamous among their alien clients, a species that believed technological advancement should be strictly controlled and regulated. The rapid rise of Port Sierra's repair capabilities had apparently drawn their attention. "Torres, initiate Protocol Omega," Sarah commanded, "and get me a channel to our clients." She turned to the main screen. "This is Chief Engineer Chen. We respectfully decline your request. Port Sierra is a neutral repair facility, operating under international space law." The response came in the form of energy weapons charging across all 3 regulator vessels. "Your species lacks the wisdom to handle advanced technology responsibly. We will not allow this contamination to spread." Sarah smiled grimly. "Torres, are our guests ready?" "Affirmative, Chief. All client vessels capable of combat have taken defensive positions. The Meridian ship is leading the formation." The Regulators hadn't expected resistance. They certainly hadn't expected to find themselves facing a makeshift defense fleet composed of grateful former clients. But Sarah knew they couldn't win a direct confrontation. They needed a smarter solution. "Dr. Patel," she called over the comm, "remember that dimensional phase technology we learned from the crystalline ship. How quickly can we adapt it to the station's shields? You want to phase shift the entire station." Patel's voice was incredulous. "The power requirements would be enormous." "Not the whole station," Sarah clarified. "Just enough to make their weapons pass through us harmlessly. We've got the biggest power plant this side of Alpha Centauri. Let's use it." What followed was perhaps the most ambitious engineering feat in Port Sierra's history. While the client ships engaged the regulators in a complex dance of space combat, Sarah's team worked frantically to modify the station's defensive systems. They combined meridian quantum shielding with crystalline phase shift technology, powered by the station's massive fusion reactors. The Collected's representative even offered their organic computing capabilities to handle the immense calculations required. The first regulator barrage hit just as they activated the new defense system. Sarah held her breath, watching the energy beams pass harmlessly through the station as if it were a ghost. "Impossible." Krell's voice carried genuine shock. "No primitive species should be capable of this level of technological integration." Sarah opened a channel. "That's where you're wrong, Enforcer Prime. Humanity's strength isn't in creating technology. It's in understanding it, adapting it, and most importantly, sharing it. Every improvement we make here benefits all our clients, and through them, the entire galaxy." She gestured to Torres. "Show them." The AI activated a system-wide broadcast, sharing detailed technical specifications of their new defense system. "We're transmitting this freely to every ship in range," Sarah announced, "including yours, Enforcer Prime. That's how we do things here at Port Sierra. We fix problems, and we share solutions." The regulator ships held position for long moments, their weapons still charged but no longer firing. Finally, Krell spoke again, his tone markedly different. "Your approach is unorthodox. Our records clearly underestimated your species." "Maybe it's time to update those records," Sarah suggested. "We have some excellent repair bays available if you'd like to dock and discuss this further." The tension held for several more seconds before the regulator ships powered down their weapons. "Perhaps there is wisdom in understanding different approaches to technological advancement," Krell conceded. As the crisis diffused, Sarah looked around at her team. Humans working seamlessly alongside AI and alien representatives. They had faced a threat not through superior firepower, but through innovation, cooperation, and an open exchange of ideas. "Torres," she called out, "prepare Bay 12 for our new guests, and send a message to all staff. Maintenance shifts resume in 30 minutes. She smiled. "After all, we've still got ships to fix." The regulator incident marked a turning point for Port Sierra. Word spread not just of their repair capabilities, but of their commitment to sharing knowledge and fostering cooperation among species. The facility had proven that humanity's greatest strength lay not in hoarding technology, but in helping others understand and improve it. As Sarah watched the regulator ships dock alongside vessels from a dozen other species, she knew they had just taken another step toward their true mission, building bridges across the technological and cultural gaps that separated the galaxy's civilizations, one repair job at a time. The Innovation Hub. 1 year after the regulator incident, Port Sierra had transformed. What began as a simple repair facility had evolved into something unprecedented in the galaxy, a place where different species not only fixed their ships but shared ideas, technologies, and dreams. Sarah Chen stood in the newly constructed Innovation Center, watching as representatives from a dozen species collaborated on projects that would have been impossible just months ago. The massive chamber was filled with holographic displays, prototype machines, and the excited chatter of multiple universal translators working overtime. "Chief, the Meridian Collective Hybrid Drive Test is ready to begin," Torres announced. and the crystalline engineers have completed their analysis of the regulator phasing technology. The observation deck overlooked Test Bay Alpha, where a prototype ship hovered. It combined meridian quantum engineering with collective organic technology, all coordinated through human-designed interfaces. If successful, it would revolutionize interstellar travel. Remember when we just fixed broken engines? Sarah mused to her AI companion. Now look at us. Your species has a unique talent for bringing others together. A familiar crystalline voice resonated in her mind. Resonance of distant thoughts had returned to Port Sierra, this time as the head of a research delegation. We just see possibilities where others see problems, Sarah replied, watching as the prototype's engines began to glow with a combination of quantum energy and bioluminescence. The test bay erupted in cheers as the hybrid drive activated successfully, achieving faster-than-light travel while using only a fraction of the power required by conventional systems. But it wasn't just the technology that made Port Sierra special. It was the way it brought people together. In one corner, regulator engineers worked alongside humans to develop safer ways to implement advanced technology. Their experience in technological control had proved invaluable in creating safeguards for the more experimental innovations. She led them through the facility, showing how different species technologies had been combined in ways nobody had imagined before. The collective's organic computing enhanced crystalline dimensional technology. Regulator safety protocols protected meridian quantum experiments. Human intuition and creativity tied it all together. The real innovation of Port Sierra isn't any single piece of technology, Sarah continued. It's the idea that we can all work together, learn from each other, and build something greater than any one species could achieve alone. As if to emphasize her point, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Chief, Torres called out urgently, we're detecting a massive solar flare from the local star. Current shielding may not be sufficient. Instead of panic, Sarah watched with pride as representatives from every species immediately began working together. The crystalline engineers suggested phase-shifting the station. Regulator experts quickly calculated power requirements. Collective drones modified their organic shields to reinforce the station's defenses. Meridian scientists calibrated the quantum field generators. Within minutes, they had created a hybrid defense system that not only protected the station, but actually harvested energy from the solar flare to power their experiments. And that, Sarah told her wide-eyed students, is what Port Sierra is really about. It's not just about fixing what's broken or building something new. It's about bringing together different ways of thinking to solve problems nobody could solve alone. As the solar flare washed harmlessly over their enhanced shields, Sarah looked at the diverse group of beings working together. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy not by dominating or competing, but by bringing others together, by seeing the potential in every problem and the opportunity in every difference. Torres, she called out, let's make sure we document this new shielding system. I think we just invented something interesting. Already done, Chief, the AI replied. The specifications are being shared with all member species as we speak. Because that was the real secret of Port Sierra's success. Every solution made everyone stronger. Every innovation lifted all species higher. And every problem solved brought them one step closer to a truly united galaxy. Legacy of Port Sierra. 5 years after its founding, Port Sierra was no longer unique in the galaxy. Similar facilities had sprung up across dozens of sectors, each following the model of open cooperation and shared innovation that had made the original so successful. But today was special. Port Sierra was hosting the first Galactic Engineering Congress. Sarah Chen, now Director of Interstellar Operations, stood before a vast assembly of beings from across known space. The station's largest chamber had been specially modified to accommodate everything, from microscopic silicon-based life forms to massive energy beings, all gathered to celebrate what had become known as the Sierra Revolution. When we first opened our repair base, Sarah began, her words translated into hundreds of languages simultaneously. We thought we were just fixing ships. We didn't realize we were actually building bridges between civilizations. The chamber's holographic displays showed images from Port Sierra's history, the first repair of the Meridian vessel, the impossible fixing of the crystalline ship, the standoff with the regulators that ended in collaboration instead of conflict. Human engineering has always been about more than just making things work, she continued. It's about understanding problems from new angles, about seeing possibilities where others see only obstacles. But our greatest achievement wasn't any particular repair or innovation. It was bringing all of you together. Enforcer Prime Krull, now the head of the Regulator's Technology Exchange Division, stepped forward. The regulators once feared unrestricted technological advancement. Port Sierra taught us that proper innovation comes not from control, but from cooperation. A shimmer in the air announced resonance of distant thoughts, their crystalline form now decorated with symbols of academic achievement from a dozen worlds. The humans showed us that true understanding crosses all dimensional boundaries, including those between species. The chamber's attention turned to a massive display showing real-time data from across the galaxy. Hundreds of points of light represented facilities that had adopted the Port Sierra model, each one a hub of innovation and cooperation. But today isn't about celebrating the past, Sarah continued. It's about the future we're building together. Today, we announce the next phase of our journey. Taurus, whose consciousness now extended throughout a network of similar AI systems across human space, activated a new holographic display. It showed plans for something far more ambitious than a repair station, a massive complex that would serve as both a university and research center. The Port Sierra Academy will be a place where young engineers from every species can learn not just how to fix things, but how to work together to solve the greatest challenges facing our galaxy. The announcement was met with widespread approval. Several species immediately pledged resources and expertise to the project. Even the collective, traditionally isolationist, offered to share their organic computing technology to help coordinate the massive undertaking. As the Congress continued, Sarah found a quiet moment to reflect. She walked to her favorite observation point, watching ships of all designs and origins moving smoothly through Port Sierra's busy lanes. Thinking deep thoughts, Chief? Torres's familiar voice asked. Just remembering where it all started, Sarah replied. One broken ship, one impossible repair at a time. Did you ever imagine it would lead to this? Humans have always had a unique capacity for turning problems into opportunities, Torres observed. You see broken things not just as something to fix, but as a chance to make something better. A group of young engineers, human, Meridian, Regulator, and others, passed by, deeply engaged in a technical discussion. They moved between species with easy familiarity, sharing ideas, and building on each other's insights. That's the real legacy of Port Sierra, Sarah said softly. Not the repairs, not the innovations, but this, different species working together, learning from each other, building something greater than any of us could imagine alone. As if to emphasize her point, a new ship appeared at the edge of the station's face, a design never seen before. It combined elements from multiple species technologies, its hull gleaming with the promise of new possibilities. Taurus, what do we know about this visitor? Nothing, Chief, the AI replied with what sounded like excitement. It appears to be a completely new species, seeking help with repairs to their experimental drive system. Sarah smiled. Some things never changed, and she wouldn't have it any other way. Well then, let's go welcome them to Port Sierra. After all, every problem is just another opportunity to learn something new. As she headed to the docking bay, Sarah thought about how far it had come. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy not through conquest or competition, but by doing what they'd always done best, fixing things, solving problems, and bringing people together. Port Sierra's legacy would continue to grow, one repair, one innovation, one connection at a time. And somewhere out there, the next impossible problem was waiting to be solved by beings working together across the boundaries of species, space, and understanding. The future was bright, and it was being built one shared idea at a time.